Hey guys, welcome to Lessons in Computer Information Systems. My name is Rigito and I will be teaching you how to create a pivot table upon data which you already have. First off, we have three separate worksheets. Our first worksheet is the 2012 official all rates worksheet. This is our actual data that we are going to use to create the pivot table itself. Our second worksheet is an information worksheet. It kind of tells you some background information on the data that's in the previous worksheet that we were just at. And then the third worksheet is the data dictionary, which kind of gives you some abbreviations or field names and then gives you definitions for such field names. In this lesson, we'll be taking this data and we'll be creating a pivot table out of it to make it kind of easier to read for people. The first thing we want to do is to select all the data in the 2012 official all rates e-league worksheet. Then we're going to go to the insert tab and we're going to click on the tab that says pivot table right up in the left hand corner here. So we'll click on that table and then it gives us a few options. The first of which says select data table range. That's going to be right here. That's going to be, this is what the code is for the table that we are using. It says choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. We want this to be a new worksheet, a separate worksheet that we can easily look at and always go back to. It'll just become another tab down at the bottom here. Let's see. So now that we have all of our information selected that we wanted, we're just going to go ahead and click OK. And when we open up a new worksheet, it gives us some options on what we want to include in our pivot table from the specific information that we want to include from the previous data table that we were looking at, the 2012 official rates data table. A pivot table walks into a bar and orders a beer. It says, "Put me in the same tab, will ya?" A slicer and a pivot chart walk into a bar. The bartender says, "Look at those guys walking around without a pivot." Once Excel, Access, and Windows were bragging to each other. Excel says, "I once crashed so hard it took 5 minutes to recover." Access says, "Oh, that's nothing. I once crashed and took down an entire database. It took them 30 minutes to recover." Windows doesn't say anything. Excel pokes him in the arm and asks, "What about you?" Windows jolts and replies, "Sorry, what did you say? I just crashed again." Alrighty, now that we have the setup for our pivot table, we have to assign some values. So the first value we're going to assign is the rows. So the first thing we want to do is figure out what we want to put in the rows. And what we're going to do is put the title or the field of SCH type, and we're just going to click that and drag it down to where it says rows, and then you can see it pop up here on the left side over here. The second thing we want to do is assign a column. For this instance, we're going to choose state, and we're just going to click on it and drag it down to where it says columns, and then we can see that the states have been created in columns for us. The third thing we're going to do is to assign a value, and the values are represented by a little sigma notation down here. We're going to use the values for data rate 1. So we're just going to click that, and we're going to drag that down to where it says values. And then we can see our table kind of start to fill out. And then our final thing is we're going to create a filter. So something that we can easily filter through this table. As you notice, it's kind of long. It makes it easier to read. So we're going to click the P rate 1, and then we're going to drag that down to where it says filters. And you can now kind of filter through. So you can be A, B, P, and you can select multiple items or unselect. So we're just going to go back to that. So now that we have our finished data chart, or our pivot table rather, we can kind of sort through it. You guys can uncheck and see what you want to see, or see particular rows. If you want, you just click OK and it'll show particular rows, kind of narrow it down. Also, we can change our columns. These particular columns are listed by state, so if we wanted to just see, let's say Ohio, where I'm from, we can just unselect all of them, where it says select all, and then you can scroll down and go to OHIO, go Bucks. Click OK, and it'll just show you Ohio and what the totals for Ohio is for defaults. So that is how you create a pivot table in Excel. I hope this video was a joy to watch.